There isn't one specific section in the National Electrical Code, or NEC, that directly covers wiring enclosed trailers for mobile kitchens. However, several NEC sections offer guidance for designing and installing the electrical system. Firstly, all electrical installations must comply with the NEC. This means every wire, fixture, and piece of equipment must meet the NEC minimum standards. Secondly, installations must minimize fire and electrical shock risks. Therefore, wiring, fixtures, and equipment must be properly sized and installed to prevent overheating or electrical shocks. Thirdly, NEC requires installations to protect users from injury, mandating proper insulation and guarding of wiring, fixtures, and equipment to prevent user injuries. Beyond the NEC, additional codes and standards might apply. These include the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA 70, also known as the National Electrical Code, the NFPA 101 Life Safety Code, the International Building Code or IBC, and the International Fire Code or IFC. It is essential to check with local authorities to determine which specific codes and standards govern the electrical system installation in the enclosed trailer. When calculating the load for the mobile kitchen trailer, the NEC provides several relevant articles and tables to consider. Although not specifically for mobile kitchens, these sections can be adapted to ensure a safe and compliant installation. For general lighting load calculation, Article 220.12 provides the method for determining the minimum general lighting load based on the square footage of the trailer. This will give you a baseline for your lighting needs. For receptacle outlets, refer to Article 220.14. This section specifies the load requirements for general use receptacle outlets. You'll need to account for the number of receptacles and their intended use. For appliances like refrigerators and freezers, you will need to consider their nameplate ratings. Article 220.53 allows for demand factors for non-coincident loads, which might apply if the refrigerators and freezer wouldn't be operating simultaneously at their full capacity. The exhaust fan in the ceiling should also be included in the load calculation. Its nameplate rating will provide the necessary information. The two countertop outlet circuits will need to be calculated based on Article 220.14. If these outlets are likely to be used for continuous loads, be sure to account for that in your calculations, applying the 125% rule for continuous loads as outlined in Article 210.20. The portable generator's capacity is a critical factor. Ensure the generator can handle the total calculated load with some headroom to spare. Consider the generator's surge capacity, especially for appliances with motors that draw higher currents upon startup. NEC Article 445 provides guidelines for generators. Grounding is essential for safety. The NEC requires proper grounding and bonding of the electrical system to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Article 250 covers grounding and bonding requirements. Grounding should follow NEC guidelines, using a grounding electrode system appropriate for the installation. Since the trailer is mobile, consider using a grounding rod or connecting to a suitable grounding point when the trailer is stationary. Overcurrent protection is equally crucial. Circuit breakers or fuses must be installed to protect the wiring and equipment from overloads and short circuits. Select the appropriate size breakers or fuses based on the ampacity of the conductors and the ratings of the equipment. NEC Article 240 provides requirements for overcurrent protection. Use appropriately rated conductors for all wiring. The ampacity of the conductors must be sufficient to carry the calculated load. NEC Table 310.16 provides ampacity ratings for conductors based on their size and insulation type. Consider the ambient temperature and any directing factors that may apply. Wiring methods within the trailer should comply with NEC requirements for the specific environment. Consider using flexible metal conduit or other suitable wiring methods that can withstand the vibrations and movement associated with a mobile kitchen. All electrical work must be performed by qualified electricians who are familiar with the NEC and local codes. Have the installation inspected by the local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. Properly label all circuits and equipment to facilitate maintenance and troubleshooting. This will make it easier to identify and address any electrical issues that may arise in the future. Consider using ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protection for all receptacle outlets in the mobile kitchen, especially those near water sources. GFCIs can help prevent electrical shocks by detecting ground faults and quickly interrupting the circuit. Regularly inspect the electrical system to identify and address any potential problems. Check for loose connections, damaged wiring, and other signs of wear and tear. It's important to maintain the electrical system in good working order to ensure safety and reliability. Furthermore, be sure to provide adequate ventilation for the generator to prevent overheating and carbon monoxide buildup. Position the generator in a well-ventilated area away from the trailer's occupants. Consider installing a carbon monoxide detector inside the trailer as an additional safety measure. Also, be aware of local regulations regarding generator use, including noise restrictions and permitting requirements. In summary, wiring a mobile kitchen trailer involves adapting standard NEC practices to a unique application. By carefully calculating the load, selecting appropriate wiring methods and overcurrent protection, ensuring proper grounding, and adhering to all applicable codes and standards, a safe and reliable electrical system can be achieved. Remember to consult with local authorities and qualified electricians to ensure compliance and safety. When planning the electrical system, start by creating a detailed load list. This list should include all electrical equipment that will be used in the mobile kitchen, along with their respective wattage or amperage ratings. This will provide a clear picture of the total electrical demand. Next, calculate the total load based on the load list. Use the appropriate NEC articles and tables to determine the demand factors that can be applied to non-coincident loads. This will help you avoid oversizing the electrical system. Select a generator that can handle the calculated load with some margin of safety. Consider the generator's continuous and surge capacity as well as its fuel efficiency and noise level. Choose wiring methods that are suitable for the mobile environment. Flexible metal conduit, or FMC, is a good option for protecting conductors from vibration and abrasion. Ensure that all wiring is properly supported and secured. Install overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, to protect the wiring and equipment from overloads and short circuits. Select the appropriate size devices based on the ampacity of the conductors and the ratings of the equipment. Implement a grounding system that complies with NEC requirements. This will help prevent electrical shocks and ensure the safe operation of the electrical system. Grounding electrodes, such as grounding rods, can be used to establish a connection to earth. Use ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, to protect receptacle outlets in areas where moisture is present. GFCIs can detect ground faults and quickly interrupt the circuit, preventing electrical shocks. Provide adequate lighting throughout the mobile kitchen. Use energy-efficient LED lighting to reduce the overall load on the electrical system. Install emergency lighting to ensure visibility in the event of a power outage. Label all circuits and equipment clearly to facilitate maintenance and troubleshooting. This will make it easier to identify and address any electrical issues that may arise. Conduct regular inspections of the electrical system to identify and address any potential problems. Check for loose connections, damaged wiring, and other signs of wear and tear. It's important to maintain the electrical system in good working order to ensure safety and reliability. Always follow all applicable codes and standards. Consult with local authorities to ensure that the electrical installation complies with all relevant regulations. Hire a qualified electrician to perform the electrical work. A qualified electrician will have the knowledge and experience to ensure that the electrical system is installed safely and correctly. In addition to these considerations, it's also important to think about the long-term needs of the mobile kitchen. Consider the possibility of adding more equipment in the future, and plan the electrical system accordingly. It's always better to have a little extra capacity than to be caught short. By carefully planning the electrical system and following all applicable codes and standards, you can create a safe and reliable mobile kitchen. Remember to prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals to ensure that the electrical installation is done correctly. Now, let's delve deeper into some specific NEC articles that can provide further guidance for wiring the mobile kitchen trailer. NEC Article 551, although primarily focused on recreational vehicles, contains valuable information about wiring methods, grounding, and bonding in mobile environments. While a mobile kitchen isn't strictly a recreational vehicle, the principles outlined in Article 551 can be adapted to ensure a safe and compliant installation. Article 551.40 covers branch circuits required, and it can be helpful to understand the requirements for spacing and placement of receptacles. The number of branch circuits depends on the total load calculation. Also, review Article 551.46 on GFCI protection for personnel. Consider the specific needs of the mobile kitchen when determining the number and placement of receptacles. Article 551.71 provides requirements for the location of disconnecting means and overcurrent protection. This is essential for ensuring that the electrical system can be safely disconnected in the event of an emergency or for maintenance purposes. The disconnecting means should be readily accessible and clearly labeled. Also, Article 551.72 details acceptable wiring methods. Choose a wiring method that is suitable for the mobile environment and that can withstand the vibrations and movement associated with a trailer. Flexible metal conduit, or FMC, is often a good choice. Article 551.73 focuses on grounding, which is one of the most crucial aspects of electrical safety. A properly grounded electrical system can help prevent electrical shocks and ensure the safe operation of equipment. Follow the grounding requirements outlined in Article 551.73, as well as the general grounding requirements in NEC Article 250. Bond all metal parts of the trailer to the grounding system to create a low impedance path for fault currents. Article 551.75 covers bonding of equipment. Make sure to bond all metal enclosures and equipment to the grounding system to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Use bonding jumpers to connect metal parts together. Article 551.76 provides information on appliance accessibility and location. Ensure that all appliances are accessible for maintenance and repair. Locate appliances in a way that minimizes the risk of damage or injury. Article 551.77 discusses cord connections. If using cord connections for appliances or equipment, make sure that the cords are properly sized and rated for the intended use. Use strain relief devices to prevent the cords from being pulled out of their connections. Also, consider Article 551.78 pertaining to the electrical component access. Provide adequate access to all electrical components for inspection and maintenance. Ensure that access panels are readily accessible and clearly labeled. Always remember that the NEC is a minimum standard. It's always a good idea to go above and beyond the minimum requirements to enhance safety and reliability. For example, you might consider using arc fault circuit interrupters, or FSIs, in addition to GFCIs to provide even greater protection against electrical fires. You might also consider using surge protection devices to protect sensitive electronic equipment from voltage spikes. Remember that the information provided here is not a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician and local authorities to ensure that the electrical installation in the mobile kitchen trailer is safe, compliant, and meets all applicable codes and standards. By taking a comprehensive approach to planning, design, and installation, you can create a mobile kitchen that is both functional and safe.